Welcome to Justice for New York. I'm your host, Charles Collins. As you may well be aware, the state of New York is run and controlled by the Democrats. The video you are about to review will demonstrate and document how the New York State Judiciary, from the lower city courts all the way up and including the New York State Court of Appeals, is stripping the citizens of New York State, the military, and the police of their federal and state statutory and constitutional rights. If you end up in a New York State court, especially the family court, you can expect to be deprived of your statutory and constitutional rights. There clearly is no longer a constitutional right to due process and equal protection of the law in New York State. Please, I urge you to watch this video, as I will clearly demonstrate and document that these two constitutional rights no longer exist, thanks to the Democrats with the overwhelming help of the Bill Clinton Justice Department. The Unified Court System's website mission statement reads, "The mission of the Unified Court System is to promote the rule of law and to serve the public by providing just and timely resolutions of all matters before the courts." As will be documented here in this video. Point 1. The mission of the Unified Court System clearly is not to promote the rule of law or to serve the public by providing just and timely resolution of all matters before the courts, but to actually destroy the families of this state one at a time. The Unified Court System is systematically depriving the litigants of their statutory and constitutional rights. In a closer review, it's not what you see the court doing. It's actually what you do not see that is the problem. Point 2. It will be documented within this video that former Democrat Chief Judge Judith Kaye of the Court of Appeals for the State of New York was a power-mad hypocrite who regularly boasted about her and the court's ethical principles during public interviews, but in fact, Kaye was actually secretly coordinating a statewide multi-billion-dollar racketeering enterprise that utilized the systematic scheme to fix court cases and deprive litigants of their statutory and constitutional rights. Her calculated efforts resulted in New York State bilking millions of the taxpayer dollars from the federal government each year. This fraudulent scheme created a deplorable environment for which attorneys reap tens of millions of dollars each year from the misery and the deliberate destruction of families and illegal imprisonments. Point 3. This video will demonstrate there must be open public investigative hearings concerning overwhelming corruption within New York State's legal system. The judges and attorneys have to be held accountable for their illegal actions. The judges should be required to testify under oath about their justification for all of the illegal actions documented within this video presentation. Point 4. This video will demonstrate Governor Cuomo, Hillary Clinton, and the Democrats are engaged in a public war on our Second Amendment rights. In addition, the Democrats are deliberately stripping us of our other constitutional rights while covering it up with the help of the drive-by news media. I am hereby asking you, how many of you or a family member have been involved in the family court process? Have been in or are currently involved in a divorce? Have been in or are currently involved in a criminal proceeding? It is more than likely your statutory or constitutional rights are being violated or were violated. Here in this video, it will be demonstrated and documented. 1. That it is a fact that every man, woman, and child currently imprisoned and or in the custody of the New York State Family Court are illegally being held in jail or in juvenile detention because of a deprivation of at least one of their constitutional rights. Family court litigants are denied at least one, and in most cases more, of the following: the right to a public trial, the right to a jury trial, the right to a court of proper jurisdiction, the right to competent assistance of counsel, the right to have a judge hear the matter, the right to have a judge hear their matter concerning a court order that they are accused of violating that does not comply with the law. If you were involved in a criminal proceeding, your rights were probably violated. This is especially true if your proceeding took place within the jurisdiction of Albany County, New York. The facts herein this video are clear. A majority of the court-assigned public defenders in Albany County are assistants to the district attorney. They are there to help the district attorney, not the litigants. These public defenders consistently fail to properly defend their clients, and the court covers it up. The court also violates the litigants' rights. I will present and illustrate to you a documented case of clear incompetence of an Albany court judge, two public defenders, and an assistant district attorney whom had no idea a litigant had a right to a jury trial. In fact, the same aforementioned judge had to write and present a letter on the record that stated in part, after review, you are in fact entitled to a jury trial. How many litigants in Albany County have been denied their right to a jury trial? New York State Judiciary repeatedly refuses to address the constitutionality of state statutes that violate the state and/or federal constitutions. This is a deliberate violation of a litigant's constitutional right to due process and equal protection of the law. Democrat Chief Judge Judith Kaye held that a person's right to a public trial, a jury trial, and a court of proper jurisdiction are not substantial rights in New York State before they are sentenced to jail. I will clearly document and illustrate to you that Democrat Chief Judge Judith Kaye ruled on a matter that she should not have, as she had direct involvement in the matter and a direct relationship with the matter before her. Under New York State statutes, this was a conflict of interest, and thus she was clearly prohibited by law from ruling on the matter. Yet, her illegal ruling on the matter was covered up. The executive branch and the judiciary conspired to deprive litigants of their constitutional and statutory rights by way of intimidating threats and false imprisonment for those who dare to try to expose the corruption. The judiciary and the executive branch clearly worked hand in hand to accomplish this. I will illustrate that the court forms for divorce and modification of court orders designed by the New York State Democrat employees and utilized by the Supreme Court and Family Court do not comply with the state constitution and, in fact, violate the state constitution. I will illustrate to you that the New York State Department of State has deliberately altered, yes, deliberately altered the New York State Constitution in violation of this state's constitution. This violation of the state's constitution is a deliberate effort to cover up all of the repeat violations of the state constitution by this state's corrupt judiciary. New York State judges are engaged in and encouraging child abuse. These corrupt judges are involved in the abduction and abuse of children that is being deliberately covered up. I will illustrate to you that the court-appointed law guardians and social workers are deliberately colluding together and allowing children to be abused by this corrupt legal system. They are filing false reports with the court in an effort to perpetuate the abuse within the court system, and this is being covered up. This corrupt family court system utilizes children as pawns with the sole intent of destroying any relationship the child may have with their father. This court does so by refusing to enforce the father's parenting time with his child or children. I will illustrate to you that family court judges and support magistrates are knowingly and deliberately issuing court orders of support that do not comply with the law in an effort to defraud fathers out of millions of dollars each year. I will illustrate to you how New York State support magistrates and judges are knowingly and deliberately jailing fathers for violating illegal court orders they themselves rendered and are clearly aware these orders of the court violate the law and are null and void. Corrupt New York State judges, attorneys, and district attorneys have placed themselves above the law, and they cover up for each other. I will later illustrate herein the Democrats, Governor Cuomo and Hillary Clinton, deliberately promote the denigration and abuse of women and little girls by way of forcing them to forfeit their constitutional right to privacy, while under the guise of claiming to protect them. It is well established that Democrats' modus operandi is state one thing and do another. They are always pitting one group against another on different issues, so you don't see what they are actually doing. The Democrats use the theory of divide and conquer quite well. The office of Democrat Eric Schneiderman is covering up illegal wiretapping of business phone calls, some of whom may be doctors or legal offices. Schneiderman's office is allowing small businesses in this state and other states to be defrauded of tens of millions of dollars each year through a false advertising scheme. Ask yourself this question: is our Democrat government now using private companies to illegally wiretap phone conversations to spy on our businesses? Well, I have here a copy of the U.S. Constitution and the New York State Constitution that can be easily found online. For Hillary Clinton, Governor Cuomo, Chuck Schumer, Eric Schneiderman, New York State Court of Appeals Chief Judge DeFori, and the Democrats to review at any time. Have any of you Democrats officials ever read the federal or state constitutions? Do any of you, the people's representatives, understand them? You are all supposed to be licensed attorneys with a firm grasp and understanding of the law. Well, with the sole exception of Hillary Clinton, her law license has been suspended. After you review this video, I am hereby challenging each of you Democrats to explain why the Democrats in New York State and the Bill Clinton Justice Department have been and are continuing to strip us of both our federal and state statutory and constitutional rights. Please explain why, after reviewing this video, you are illegally imprisoning people who demand that their rights be protected. Please address in full each of the issues I have raised within this video. I bet you won't do it. For the citizens of this state and our military, you need to exercise your constitutional right to free speech. Call the news media and ask why they are covering up the illegal actions of the Democrats and the judges that violate our federal and state statutory and constitutional rights, just like they covered up for Hillary Clinton. The citizens of this state also need to call Governor Cuomo's office, the family court clerk's office within each county, the family court judges and support magistrates, whose phone numbers are listed on most county websites and on the Unified Court System website. Call the court and the judges and ask, Under what authority do they have to strip you or your family members of their statutory and constitutional rights? Do not threaten. Simply tell them the violation of our statutory and constitutional rights will no longer be tolerated. Call for the immediate release of all those whom are illegally imprisoned by the family court. Demand that the corrupt judges and attorneys be immediately arrested and prosecuted. Further, all states should use Governor Cuomo's approach to North Carolina. Boycott New York State. The military, the horse racing associations, all civic and governmental groups need to boycott New York, as this state is not only corrupt but un-American, as New York strips its citizens of their rights. I will fully document and illustrate this to be true herein within this video presentation. Remember, these judges go home every night laughing their asses off on how they have stripped you or your family members of their constitutional rights. Their illegal actions are ripping apart and destroying families. A lot of their illegal actions result in illegal imprisonments of the litigants. These judges would like you to believe there is nothing you can do about it, but there is. Stand up and fight for your rights and exercise your constitutional right to free speech. Make no mistake about it. New York State judges are not only traitors to both the United States and the New York State Constitution, they are also terrorists in that they terrorize families. Finally, as an added bonus, this video will document and illustrate the FBI has been and continues to be under the control of the Democrats. The FBI's mission is to assist and protect the corrupt Democrats in their quest to deprive and violate our statutory and constitutional rights. This is being accomplished by way of threats, intimidation, and other means possible with the full support of the Clinton FBI and the Clinton Justice Department. Just look at what the FBI did for Hillary by covering up her and Obama's illegal actions that allowed classified and top secret emails to be placed on Hillary's unsecured server. The FBI turned a blind eye to Hillary's efforts to sell out our country as Secretary of State through the Clinton Foundation. This corrupt action enabled Hillary and Bill to make hundreds of millions of dollars. Make no mistake about it. The Democrats are out to destroy this country, our freedoms, and our way of life. The country holds close to its heart. The liberal Democrats are destroying and stripping away all of our constitutional rights. One by one state at a time. Remember, our military is there to protect our rights and have fought tirelessly for our freedom, only to have the liberal Democrats erode them away. Do not allow our military personnel's efforts to secure our freedoms be fought for in vain and result in the liberal Democrats voting them away. Please take note. Visit the site below for plenty of information regarding this cause, as all of the supporting documentation and the posters that are going to be used in this video can be found on my website, justicefornewyork.com. And you may email me at justicefornewyork@aol.com.